Hello, welcome to Verbling. I'm teacher Oakley, and
Hello.
hi, Luo.
Hello.
How are you? Uh,
I'm not too bad. My symptoms getting worse. I mean my cold, but I haven't died yet.
you haven't died yet. Me neither.
Uh,
I also am getting a sore throat, I'm afraid. Uh, I'm worried about it, but anyway, glad to hear you're not dead. It would be very
yeah,
scary if you were in fact dead and you were here. I don't know.
yeah.
I've
I
never.
think it's climax today with my cold. I think it
Uh,
will recover in a couple of days. uh,
okay.
mm.
Uh, I just hope I can keep teaching class. I'm getting a sore throat myself. Okay, anyway, hello everyone. Let me introduce the class for today and the next 2 days at this time slot. We're going to do like a mini series, mini course on TOEFL listening. Today's class will be generally an overview, a discussion of strategies and ways to practice. It's very hard to practice for listening. I'll make some suggestions, or actually take any suggestions from you guys that I can get. And we're going to talk about basically what to expect, an overview of TOEFL listening, since this is a sort of an introductory class. Please, anyone who's has any interest in TOEFL or TOEIC or IELTS, feel free to ask any questions whatsoever. Doesn't even have to be just about listening. Doesn't even have to be about TOEFL. I don't care if you want to ask IELTS, TOEFL. Many times students have questions about the test in general. I'd be happy to entertain any questions you have whatsoever at any time. I'm going to introduce the whole idea, overview the listening test. So, blah, blah, blah. I'll be talking. Don't be shy. If you have a question, to interrupt me. It's perfectly okay, and I welcome you to do that. So I already said hello to Lua. Let me greet some others here. Hello, Hyro. Oh, hey, how are you?
Hi, Ellie. How are you?
I'm good. Nice to see you again.
It's my first time in listening class.
Oh, yeah, okay. You're just basically listening to me today, unfortunately. The next two classes, by the way, there are two kinds of listening class. I mean, there are two kinds of listening in the TOEFL. Oh, what happened to my camera? Weird. There are two types of listening. You will be listening to two things: conversation between two or sometimes even more people, usually two people, a dialogue, and as well there will be a lecture, in which case you're listening to a professor, most likely. Um, Now, today's class, again, is an overview. Tomorrow's class, we're going to concentrate on the conversations, listening to the conversations, and we'll do a lot of listening. We'll answer questions. We'll do practice. The next day, we'll concentrate on lectures and, again, answering questions. You guys will be doing a lot more practice. Okay. Hello, Jose. Jose?
Hi, teacher. How are you?
I'm okay.
Okay.
Pretty good. I don't know why my camera's not working. Hang on, let me fool around with this. Oh, there we go. Easy. Okay, I'm good. Hello, Rafael.
Hi, teacher. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Good.
Rafael, which Rafael is this? There's like 3 Rafaels here at Verbling. Where are you from?
I'm from Brazil.
From Brazil.
Yes.
Okay. Great. It's Rafael. It's great to have you here. It's just there's a Rafael from Mexico. There's one from Brazil. There's one from Italy, I think.
I see.
Welcome, Brazil. Hello.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. And hello to Talita.
Hi,
Hi. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. And you?
Yeah, I'm okay. Toledo, where are you from?
Brazil
Brazil as
as
well.
well.
Okay, great. Okay. First of all, have any of you in the class, have any of you ever taken the TOEFL test before? No, 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 no.
No.
Does anybody have specific plans to take the TOEFL in the future?
Yes.
Anybody? Talita, you do?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna do in 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Ooh.
Yes.
Are you
I'm
nervous?
scared.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's coming right up. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Definitely. You want to spend some time practicing, no doubt. Anybody else?
Yes.
Jairo? Jose?
Not
Well,
sure.
okay. Not sure.
Not sure.
Okay, just still thinking about it. Okay. And that's fine. No problem. Okay, one thing, the TOEFL and the IELTS test are completely different when it comes to listening. Many parts of these two tests are very similar in other disciplines. Reading is somewhat similar. Writing is very similar. Speaking is a little different. Listening is quite different, actually, from IELTS. Okay. Look, listening, there is not a lot. I can give you some advice, definitely, and it's good advice that I can tell you. But really, the main thing is, Talita, especially, I'm talking to you. The main thing is it takes a great deal of concentration, honestly, to keep your focus on what they're saying and think about answering the questions after. In the TOEFL, you can make notes, and you should. Okay. Um, now,
Mhm. I think my biggest no, sorry.
go ahead,
My
please.
biggest problem is writing. The writing
Okay.
part is for me the worst.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Uh, all right. I'll tell you something. Okay, just because you ask, I know this is about listening class, but if I could address that for just a second. Toledo, in the writing section of TOEFL, they are much more concerned about your organization, paragraphing, and the use of cohesive devices like, first of all, secondly, in addition, moreover,
Despite of or
despite
something.
all,
Mhm.
yes, exactly. They are maybe even overly concerned with your organization. Really, that's half your score. You could almost write gibberish, but if it was well organized nonsense, you'd still get half the score. Um, so keep that in mind. Make sure you know before you take the test in writing, you should know in task one, I'm going to use 4 paragraphs, pretty much definitely, maybe 5. And in task 2, the opinion, I'm going to definitely need at least 5 paragraphs, maybe 6.
Mhm.
You just should know that, and you should know basically what you're going to do. You should basically have a template in your head when you take the test. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. The reading says, then the lecturer disagrees, or the lecturer agrees. Okay. And in the opinion section, know what you're going to do. Topic paragraph, you introduce the idea and your opinion, and then supporting reasons, 1, 2, 3. Hopefully, you can have at least 3 reasons. You should have at least 3 reasons, each in its own individual paragraph. and then conclusion. Yeah,
Okay.
that is the most important thing, really. In fact, you calm down a little, because they do score the writing test as a first draft. It is not supposed to be a polished, ready for a magazine article. So you can relax a little. They allow misspellings. They allow small grammar errors, like missed an article, missed a punctuation somewhere. There should have been a comma. They let you get away with quite a bit of small problems that do not interfere with the meaning, with the content. It can be understood.
Okay.
Okay. So you need to also relax a little. Take it easy on yourself. Don't punish yourself.
Okay.
Because again, really, two things. They're really emphasizing organization, and secondly, you can get away with a lot of small mistakes. Quite a few. Okay, but we're going to concentrate on listening. All right. First piece of advice. It takes a lot of focus, and that means, even though you are nervous, and this goes for any TOEFL, IELTS, I'm going to give some general advice, TOEIC, it doesn't matter, CAE, whatever. You're doing a listening test, you must get a good night's sleep. Think about it 2 days before, in case you're a little nervous the night before. Get plenty of rest and sleep. Also, before the exam, chow down. Have yourself a big breakfast. Treat yourself to a large breakfast. Carb up. You know, just like running a marathon, this is going to take energy. And in order to concentrate, it's going to take a lot of energy that you're going to have to sustain for many hours. So chow down, eat a lot, don't be shy. You're going to need it. And again, the key to success in listening is to be focused. Also, the key to success is to anticipate. Think about what they're going to say. Concentrate on what you think they're going to be talking about. That starts right away in TOEFL. TOEFL is a computerized test. I'm sure you're going to be taking TOEFL IBT.
Yes.
The written test is almost non-existent unless you live in the jungle somewhere. Anywhere where they have a computer and internet access, it's TOEFL IBT version. Okay, so you're going to be taking the computerized test. All right, as the screens go by, all right, they'll show you a picture, which is supposed to be like the setting, you know, the background for the conversation or lecture you hear. This is your first clue. Get your brain working immediately. The conversation will obviously be in a library. There'll be a picture of people in a library. The conversation will obviously be in a doctor's office. Somebody would be wearing a doctor's smock, the white, you know, uniform thing. Get your brain working already. The lectures very often there'll be a picture before you even start the question, before you even start hearing it, or as you're hearing it. Indeed, as you're hearing it, you will be just looking at a picture, and there will be a professor standing in front of a whiteboard, and the whiteboard will actually have possibly even some keywords that you will need to use. It will have part of the lecture, or maybe even an outline for what the lecturer is talking about. They do that. That's your first clue. They do that for a reason, because the key to success is to anticipate, anticipate, anticipate. What are they going to talk about? What is the issue? Okay. Basically, you're listening. They're testing you for basic comprehension, the main idea, the major points. Many of the questions are about these things. It is not necessary in listening to comprehend each and every detail. It is not necessary to understand each and every vocabulary word. It's really not. You're basically looking for the overall, and you just need an overall understanding of what's going on, what they're talking about. Also, they're testing your what they call pragmatic understanding. Pragmatic, practical. What is the speaker's attitude? Or how certain are they about something? Are they questioning something? Are they very sure? You obviously are going to have to know this, because for example, in the conversations, you have to know who is the person with the problem, who's making suggestions, who is upset about a situation, and who is not. These types of things, the attitude, the emotional state of the speakers you're listening to, there will definitely be related questions. And obviously you have to be able to pick out the speaker's purpose. All right, you're listening, you see a picture of a library, there's two people talking, you have to know person A, the first speaker, is the librarian, and person B is the student. Obviously you have to be able to understand that. Okay. You have to recognize the organization in which they're speaking and what are they trying to do. Are they comparing and contrasting, or in a lecture, are they explaining a process? Are they explaining a cause and effect relationship? Okay, so these types of general understanding, again, you don't have to understand each specific piece of information. You do have to know that sometimes they're speaking naturally in the TOEFL. Well, not really, but kind of, sort of naturally. It's staged, so when they have use filler, they'll use filler, like they do that in the recording. Okay, they're doing it on purpose, they're acting, but anyway, they're trying to speak naturally. They will do self-correction, they will correct themselves as they speak. In a lecture, the professor may get off topic for a second. They may see things, weird things, like I understand that we talked about the process of birth for mammals yesterday. Today I would like to talk about reptiles. Okay, that's just that's sort of a trick. That whole thing about mammals, we talked about mammals yesterday. Well, that's not even relevant to what they're going to talk about today. So you have to understand these digressions and statements that have nothing to do with anything. They do happen. Do not be tricked into thinking that is some important piece of information. Actually, it's not, and you should not even consider it. Okay. Again, you can take notes. You should take notes. Look, basically what you're listening for and concentrating on the most, and this not only in listening, also in the speaking tests, integrated questions, also in the integrated question in writing. and even in the listening. TOEFL is very regimented, very formal. They do the same thing over and over. You're basically listening, whatever it is. If somebody's making suggestions, if somebody's trying to solve a problem, if a professor's explaining a process, there's almost certainly going to be two or three, quite often two or three, possibly three main points. All right? That's it. You've got to get at least two of them. That's what you're listening to. When I make notes, not just in listening, also in the speaking part of the test and in the writing part of the test, I am actually, what I do, my technique, you take it or leave it, I'll write R1 dash, reason 1, D1, detail 1. Maybe there's another example, D2. So I organize, so I know when I look at my notes, I know what the idea is. I'll write the main idea. They're going to introduce their idea in both conversation and, in fact, in the lecture. So write down my idea, and then R1, D1, R2, D2, R3, D3. That's it. That's all you need. The questions in all, again, speaking, writing, listening, are going to be about the overall idea, the attitude of the speakers, and these reasons or supporting points that they make. Okay, the listening section is about 60 minutes. You're going to hear you're going to hear lectures and conversation. The people speak for 3 to 5 minutes. There's maybe 4 to 6 lectures, 3 to 5 minutes. Usually 6 questions per lecture. You're going to hear 2 or 3 conversations. It's yeah, probably less. 2 or 3 conversations, about 3 minutes long, with back and forth. Maybe each of them speaks 12 times, something like that. 5 questions per conversation. You only have to answer a few questions about each conversation. Another word about the lecture. The lecture, it could be just purely monologue, one speaker. Sometimes you hear the students asking questions. Just be aware of that. Okay, all the conversations in TOEFL, whether they're in speaking, you hear conversations in the speaking section as well. Speaking or listening. Obviously, the lectures have to do with academics, academic topics, sociology, geology, dance. Could be in the arts. They could be talking about expressionism in French art around the turn of the century. Oh, okay, great. They could be talking about modern geological techniques like fracking for oil and gas mining. Fine. Could be natural. There's almost always natural phenomenon subtopics, biology, chemistry. Okay, the lectures are all like that. The conversations are all about academic life, university life. Everything, they're talking about new university rules for parking, a new sculpture in the park in front of the university, library hours, bookstore prices. Everything absolutely has to do with university life. More practical aspects of university life, housing, noisy rooms in the dormitory, that kind of thing. They all have to do with that type of stuff. So they're all in an academic setting. Okay. Again, look at the pictures. The picture that you see while you're listening is going to be your first clue. Where are they and what they're talking about? All right, therefore, basically, the listening material is played. Test takers will both see and hear each question before they see the answer choices. This will encourage you to listen for the main ideas. There are 4 question formats, more or less. There's a traditional multiple choice for A, B, C, D. Okay, you pick one answer. There are multiple choice questions with more than one answer, possibly 2 out of 4, something like that. There are questions that require you to number a process, which comes first, then this, then this, then this. The steps to, okay, what are the steps, for example, to take an important, to look at an important old book in the university library? Oh, first you must sign up, then you must put on gloves, then you must enter a clean room. Okay, what are the steps? And then there may be questions that involve matching things with categories. Which category does this belong in? Okay. Again, note-taking is allowed. You can do whatever you want with your notes. Notes will be collected at the end and destroyed, so it doesn't matter what you do. If you want to write notes in your own native tongue, you can. I don't like that technique, but that's my personal opinion. I think it's better to make notes in English. Okay. You may have, one lecture may be in the British or Australian accent, so be aware of that. Okay, what else? Sometimes, another thing in the listening exam, they will frequently, at least once for one section, they will replay like a little snippet, a little piece of the conversation, a snippet. They will replay it so that you, right before you answer the question, so you have a chance to hear it again. Not the whole thing. The whole thing you hear once. They will occasionally play one little section for, usually, frankly, a more difficult kind of question.
I have a question. Usually, how long is the listening test? I mean, the listening part.
Do you mean how the whole test overall, or each? It's broken into sections. Do you mean the whole test overall, or each section?
Yes. No, the
whole test.
part of the listening.
Okay. It's usually an hour. You know, it's kind of weird, honestly, because when you go to TOEFL websites, when you research, it says 60 to 90 minutes. But in my experience, it's 60 minutes always. So I'm not sure why they say that. They say the same thing about reading. They say, oh, it could be 60 to 90 minutes. But in my personal experience, every student that I've prepared for the test says it's 60 minutes. So I'm not sure why they say that. But the websites do tell you 60 to 90, so I guess you should be prepared for that. But again, never seems to be 90. I think they just say that to scare you. I don't know.
Yes.
I'm not sure, but anyway, again, but as far as listening time, 4 to 6 academic lectures, about three to 5 minutes. All right,
Mhm.
2 or 3 conversations, probably 2. You probably have some listen to 6 pieces of information, six audio files, whatever. Probably 6, 7, maybe. Uh, okay. Um,
But the audios is how I mean. For example, you speak in English very slowly. Not slowly, but not I I don't know
moderate. In
how
the
to
middle,
explain.
maybe a moderate pace. Okay, the pace of how they speak, basically how I'm speaking right now. It's basically
Okay, so I can
not
understand.
fast. It's not too
Yeah.
fast. No, they're
Okay.
not going to have. I guarantee you, there will not be any people that are talking like this. Oh my God, I can't believe what the university
Yeah.
has decided with the new rules for the library. I can't believe that they changed the library rules.
Just like the
They don't do that.
Australian accent. Australian
That's.
accent is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
I can understand.
Yes. Okay. Well, even if you have an Australian or a Scottish accent, another difficult one.
Hmm.
Even
Yeah.
if you do have one, and you probably will, uh, the person has a very moderate British accent, Australian or Scottish. It's a
Okay.
very, very. It's not outrageous. There's not going to be someone saying, "Oi, laddie, I think they're changing the rules at the library. I don't understand what they're doing." You're not going to hear crazy nonsense like that, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Although it might be fun, but.
No, not at all.
Okay. All right. A couple things that you can do, possibly, to prepare yourself, if you want to, just, for fun, if you will, whatever. You might try going to this website, NPR, National Public Radio, American National Public Radio. You might try TED Talks. Just Google it, TED Talks. You could try listening to that. This material is very similar to the lectures, actually. It's just longer. Um, NPR is great because it has conversations. They interview people all the time. What to do if you listen and be entertained and informed, but also while you're doing it, you both NPR, TED Talks, also BBC. BBC has excellent resources for more British versions. In fact, you could try this one. Hang on, let me share a resource with you. You could try this one as well if you're not confident about your British accent listening. You could try this because they actually have listening exercises. NPR and BBC have listening that you can hear, listen for a while, pause. They have a pause button that you can stop and start. So it's great. What to do as you're practicing? You might want to try anticipating. Stop the TED Talks after 30 seconds and imagine, okay, I think that the speaker will now talk about blah, 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 blah. See how right you are. See how much you can do. Think about, as you're practicing, think about, okay, I think he's going to talk about the evolution of birds. All right? I think he will use words like wings, flight, aerodynamic. All right? See if you can predict some words that he will use. Surprisingly, this is a skill that you can get better at. The more you do this, you'll maybe surprise yourself that in fact you will get better at anticipating what English speakers are going to say, which actually improves your listening skill. It actually does, and it is something that you can actually learn, teach yourself relatively easily. So that's just some ideas, couple ideas there for practicing, a couple suggestions. Does anybody else have any ideas, actually? I'll throw this out to the class. Does anybody else have any great techniques for practicing listening? It's difficult to practice listening. Anybody?
Watch videos, for example, movies.
Sure. Okay. Some
Just
people.
like Friends or.
Ooh, you read my mind. I was just going to say some people do not find this as helpful as others, but some people, for example, watching like Friends, exactly what I was going to say, actually, because it involves much more natural paced conversations, definitely, which definitely might help, especially with the conversation thing. True. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Okay. All right. Let me move on and talk a little bit about more specifics. Wait. I want to do a screen share first of all. Okay. Here, basically. Wow. There you go. That's what you're looking at. Something like this. Okay. You're starting. Okay. You're going to see this picture. TOEFL listening up here. All right. Put on your headset. Click on to proceed. They're going to take you through some steps to make sure that your headset is working properly. Yeah, you want to do that. Don't just skip it. You could skip it, but don't, because you want to make sure that you can hear correctly. You cannot pause. There's some buttons here. Let's talk about these buttons on the top of the page. The test will pretty much proceed itself, so you don't need to worry after you set things up. You can't pause the test once it's going, so don't bother trying. Do not push section exit. Do not push this button, or you will then move on to reading or writing or whatever. Or you will move on to the next section of the test, and you will get a 0 in listening. Do not do this. Not click the red R, the red X. Obviously, you all use computers, so you know this will close the window. Do not do that. You do have a next button. This is pretty much pointless in the listening test. You don't really have to worry about these buttons at all, because the test just proceeds naturally. So you have a next button, very handy in reading, but not so much. You have skip button, a help button. If you need the help button, then you really do need help, because you should all know all the rules before you even start. And then there's a review button. Again, you cannot review. Actually, I think you can review at the end. I think you can review. This button is so that you can see which questions you have answered and which you have not. I believe you may want to use this at the end of the test to see if you've left any answers blank, because you do not lose points for a wrong answer. You do. You lose points, the same points for a wrong answer as you do for a blank answer. And the time is the time. You could, if you want to, hide the time, but I don't know why you would. Okay. Uh, okay. You are not allowed to skip questions and return. You must answer each question before you can proceed to the next one. Okay. Some questions on the listening section are heard, not read. You will see this icon. All right, and then you will only hear the question. You won't be able to read it. Most of the questions you can both read and answer. You can read the question. Occasionally, no. The question will not appear on your screen. All right, some basic principles. All right. Find the main idea or purpose. You should have probably written this in your notes. What is the theme? This will be introduced at the beginning. So, actually, this is very important. Start paying attention immediately. Don't be actively listening immediately, right from the start, because in the very beginning is where they're going to state their main purpose or idea. So it's essential you're ready to go. Focus on the structure. Okay, examples, comparison, cause and effect relationships. Okay, this is where I was talking about details. Okay, but especially important to listen for those main points, reasons. Also, tone and attitude. You have to know how the speaker feels. There are questions. Is the speaker happy about the changes? Is the speaker angry? Pay special attention to the transitions. Transitions, as I was mentioning earlier, when I was discussing writing, transitions are the parts where people say, first of all. The second reason is, another very good example of this is, another example, okay, in addition, okay, so again, these are very important, and in every section of the test, when you're speaking, you should use these. When you're writing, you should use these. When you're reading, you should look for them. When you're listening, you should listen for them. Okay, some things not to do. Well, don't memorize everything. That's just ridiculous. You drive yourself crazy. You do not have to memorize information. Don't take too many notes. Please, whatever you do, don't try to write complete sentences. That's also insane. You'll get sidetracked and you'll miss information. If you're going to make notes, and you should, make notes of the really essential information in 1 word or 2 words. It helps if you can write as you're listening. If you can write without looking what you're writing at, that actually helps a little. So yeah, concentrate, 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 concentrate. And oh yeah, when you're practicing, I gave you some, you want to go to NPR or TED Talks or whatever. Try practicing making notes. That's another thing that you can practice, which you will get better at. Okay. All right. If you're really good at listening, okay, you're going to have some basic things that you do. You're going to really perk up your ears or really focus your concentration. All right. First of all, you hear somebody say, okay, today I want to talk about, tonight I wanted to look at, okay, you hear this, you know the next part of the sentence is going to be extremely important. There's about a 99% chance there's going to be a question about this next half of this sentence. Pretty much you can assure yourself. Okay. And especially that's going to be the topic. Okay, in a conversation, same idea, but maybe there's phrases like, what can I do for you? All right. Where does somebody say, hi, what can I do for you? Vishal? Where am I? Hi, Vishal, by the way. Where does somebody say, hello, Vishal, how can I help you today?
Perhaps in in something in something like a restaurant or another service.
Okay, exactly. All right. If you hear someone say, hello, what can I do for you? You know that they're some sort of customer service somebody. All right. They're there to help. And they're there to, yeah, there's some kind of service person, right? Simple enough. Okay. Basic principle 2, focus on the structure. What is the structure of the talk after they introduce the main topic? Okay. There, especially in the lectures, there are different types. Compare and contrast. This type of lecture involves finding similarities and differences between two or more things. This is basically what you will definitely hear in the writing section, because they'll be comparing information to something that's in a reading passage. Also, one of the sections in speaking. Okay. Listen for the speaker to introduce this framework by using several theories, possible explanations, many different views. Okay. So after they say that, you know you're going to hear some comparison and contrast. All right, and here are these transitional phrases. In contrast, on the other hand, similarly, however. All right, these types of things. All right, again. I know I'm saying it over and over. It's important to listen for these. It's important to use these when you're speaking. It's important to write with these when you're writing. Cause and effect is another type of lecture. Why does this certain situation occur? They may ask a rhetorical question. They often ask a rhetorical question. Why would this happen? What is the reason for this? What leads to this event? Okay. All right. Then you're going to hear verbs. Causes, results in, produces. Okay, very simple. Leads to, brings about, responsible for. Okay, very good. Or you may hear it in the oh, well, same thing. Oh, no worries. Okay, lecture 3, abstract category, talking about a theory. Okay. So the speaker may use words like one approach, one theory, the concept is, basic premise. Listen for these. When you hear these types of things, there's important information coming immediately after, which perhaps you should write down. For example, one instance. Consider, and then they give an example. This is illustrated by all of these phrases. Basically, I'm sharing these because all of these mean there's some important information coming. Another structure, sequences, when they use words like process, development, stages, transition. Okay, you know you're probably going to listen to some kind of sequence. Information that has a specific time sequence. All right, they use first, second, third, and then, next. All right, very simple. Types of conversation structure to listen for. Problem and a solution. This is very common. Two students are talking. One has a problem. I've got some trouble. I have a little difficulty. Oh, what's the problem? There it goes. You absolutely going to have to know what the problem is. You're going to have to be able to answer that for sure. The other person will offer advice. Again, they're going to be offering 2 pieces of advice. You should know what those are because there's going to be questions about them. Another type of structure, service encounter, what I just talked about with Faisal. How can I help you today? Okay, the service professional will explain exactly what the student needs to do. All right? And you should understand too at the end. The solution may involve several parts. This is where perhaps you will end up doing a question which will involve you taking 4 items and putting them in the order. Okay, in order for the student to get a library card, they must submit a copy of a document, they must pay some money, they must wait for 3 weeks to get their college library ID. So you've got to put those things in order. This would be very common, this type of question. Conversation 3, a significant event. Something has just happened. Oh, there's a new sculpture on the lawn, for example, of the college green, the quad. All right, something major happened. They cut a lot of classes. Have you heard about? Did you see? Okay, usually in this type of conversation structure, one person is upset and the other person is not. So you have to be able to recognize that. There may be questions about how the speakers feel. Okay, so that goes along with the next thing. Listen for tone and attitude. There are questions about how the speaker feels about certain points. And also, what is his attitude? Is he emphasizing a point? Okay, it may be important to know if the speaker is being objective. He's just listing facts, providing information. He doesn't really take a position. Okay, at least one of the lectures you will hear will be subjective, meaning that the lecturer will be presenting a position. He has an opinion. He's making an argument. So the speaker is trying to convince you of something. There will be questions related to this, related to the idea that the lecturer is trying to convince you of something. Okay. There may be inquisitive. In fact, if you listen to one where you can hear the students, there may be interaction with the professor and the student. Okay. So there may be talking about a theory, and then the professor is waiting for the questions and providing information. So he may say things like, why do you think this happens? What cases will this happen? Okay, speakers could be excited, speakers can be upset, uncertain, confused, especially in conversations. Definitely in the significant events conversations, it's going to be important to know that. And of course, transitions. Watch out for negatives. I don't have to explain that to you, right? That actually is totally meaningless. We don't need to go into that right now, okay? This sentence is actually meaningless. It's just a distractor, actually. It's just to distract you from what's going on. Okay, that's pretty much it. Actively listen. Concentrate. Note the main idea and purpose. Attack the question. There's no skipping in the listening section, so you'll have to do each question. So don't waste any time. Just go for it. Use POE aggressively. Okay. That means get rid of answers, process of elimination, get rid of answers that don't make any sense. It is a good idea to attack questions by eliminating the answers you know are wrong. Use your notes to help you. Okay, that's pretty much it for today. Tomorrow, we'll get right in. We're going to listen to some audios together, do some questions. We're going to practice, practice, practice. So join me tomorrow for some hardcore practice. Tomorrow, conversations. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Toledo. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, have a great day. Bye for now.